Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. So today's video is a follow-up of sorts to the video that I posted yesterday, where I discussed if Nintendo is maybe preparing to wow us, as I put it, with what they're planning game-wise for the future and the immediate future with their next generation machine and all this stuff. In that conversation, I ended up discussing a lot of Nintendo's first-party content, the releases that they made on the Wii U, their 8th generation, now dying last generation system, and whether or not a lot of those games, quality-wise or not, were considered maybe placeholder games or games that were not the fully realized versions of each respective franchise that Nintendo would have initially planned for, and that maybe those projects had moved to the NX. Again, I had that conversation many months ago when I discussed, as I reminded in that video yesterday too, as I discussed if Nintendo course corrected from the Wii U's pretty immediate failure within that first year or so. So the reason I'm kind of making this video as a follow-up of sorts is to kind of further explain my message. I have to be honest that as I was making that video, and you know how I record, I kind of just go off the cuff. I really just have an idea of what I want to discuss. I know the beats that I want to hit. I press record, and then I just talk to you guys. And through yesterday's video, which I am proud of, and I like that video, I definitely accidentally steered the conversation more to a discussion, for the most part, about just some of the games on the Wii U and whether or not they count as sequels or not. And it was a great conversation. I think it was really cool. Most people seem to enjoy it. It's a successful, popular video so far now, just a day in, and that's really cool. But what I noticed in some people's reactions and a couple of the conversations I saw happening, and a couple of very small conversations I had with some people, commenters on the video, is I think some people viewed it as a little bit more negatively than I intended. So I kind of wanted to just discuss the idea a little bit further, more fully explain what I mean. I really meant to make that video discussing the actual purpose of the games that Nintendo might be planning to release on the NX, because I really think that they are going to unload on us as soon as this machine comes out. Within the first year or two, I think that they are really planning on saying, here's the Mario you've really been waiting for. Here's the Zelda you've really been waiting for. Here's the Metroid you've been waiting for. Here's the Animal Crossing you've been waiting for. The Mario sports game you've been waiting for. All these different things. A lot of games that maybe a lot of us feel we didn't truly get on the Wii U. When I was discussing the Wii U's library in that video, which again, it wasn't my intent, I just kind of turned it into that. I feel like what some people might have mistaken my meaning when I was discussing it was, I think that people took it, long story short, as something negative. And I'm telling you guys, I didn't mean to make it sound like I was speaking negatively on the Wii U or the Wii U's library. I mean, if you know me or you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know how much I love the Wii U as a console and how much I love that library. I wanted to spend a good amount of this video today discussing with you guys why I think the Wii U's library, despite everything people might have thought I was trying to say yesterday, why I think the Wii U's library is the best library of any 8th generation machine today. So I think it's important to note that the idea of a lot of the games that Nintendo themselves released on the Wii U, some people brought up like Bayonetta and Wonderful 101. Those aren't Nintendo's games, so that's why they weren't part of the conversation. I'm talking first-party stuff. I think it's so important for us to understand that when you look at what the Wii U, the entire breadth of this entire library, first and third party, but especially first party, when you look at those games, they're so good and they are so high quality that if you consider them, and I was only throwing the idea out there, if you consider them as maybe placeholder games or maybe not the games they initially would have released within these franchises had the Wii U been more successful, I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing. And every time I brought up a game that I discussed in that video yesterday, I tried to really remind folks like, hey, this is a good game. I like this game. I loved this game. I'm happy I bought this game. I suggest you buy this game. It's worth your time and money. I think it was important to get that message across, and it seems like a small selection of people maybe kind of missed that. And I think that's too bad. It definitely wasn't, like I said, my intent. Someone even said that maybe I should just take the video down if it's not really what I wanted people to take away from it. And I don't want to do that because I still stand by everything I said. I feel like there would be a lost integrity there if I were to just pull the video down because, people are not happy with it, or some people think I'm being mean or being mad. And it's like, that's not right. I believe in everything I said, even though it wasn't what I thought I was going to talk about when I pressed record and started talking. So I'm definitely leaving the video up. I'm happy with how it turned out. But You guys, the idea of some of these games, when you look at Captain Toad, when you look at 3D World, when you look at Kirby or Yoshi's Woolly World, these games are all fantastically excellent. I think that they are, for the most part, spin-offs and side stories. We got the HD remakes of Zelda games, and not till the very end are we going to get the true sequel, which I think also is going to be pushed more on their next platform than the Wii U. You know, you look at these games, they're spin-offs, but I think they're so good. And I just want people to realize that it doesn't necessarily qualify as bad just because maybe it's more in the spin-off or the non-traditional sequel category. So why do I think that Nintendo's, that the Wii U's library is still the best library on the market? And it's honestly because of every game that I was talking about that some people thought maybe I was saying disparaging remarks about. I think that the exclusivity of what Nintendo has offered on the system, which is primarily first party, but not entirely first party. There are some third party exclusive games that are very good. I think that that is what really defines the system as the best library. And it's a very interesting conversation to have right now in 2016, in this 8th generation, with what's happening with the PS4 and Xbox One, both of which I also do own and enjoy as well. And you look at how similar those machines' libraries are for the most part. Microsoft and Sony, they made some good machines that I like, but they really haven't defined their identity as much this generation as they have in previous generations. Nintendo is really carrying that torch of unique identity by having such a diverse yet exclusive library. And I just think that that can't be combated. And there's like almost no argument against that. Now, someone could say, well, I don't like Mario, and I don't like Zelda, and I don't like Splatoon or Pikmin. So that, to me, doesn't make it a good library. And okay, I understand that maybe individually you don't like those games, but when you look at what's offered and the fact that all of those games sell very well and they review very well, most of them review very well, that says something. That speaks to the quality. Like, I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto fan, but I'm not going to sit here and tell someone Grand Theft Auto is poor quality or bad just because I don't enjoy it. Obviously, the Grand Theft Auto games are made with the utmost care and to the highest possible quality standard. Like, I know that they are. So if Grand Theft Auto 5, let's just say, for example, happened to be exclusive to the Xbox 360, I wouldn't be like, oh, like, that game doesn't count as a good game because I don't like it. So that's not a good argument for the 360's library. I would never say that because that people love that game, and it's obviously very good, and the reviews are off the charts for that game. It's a quality game. I think it's important to be able to recognize quality outside of the small little window that is your own personal opinion. Everyone, I think, should be able to do that. It's a very healthy perspective to have on gaming or movies or books or whatever it is that you're critiquing or considering at that time. So I think that applies obviously to Nintendo's library. I have like 25 Wii U games, and they are most of them exclusive. Not all of them, but most of them. I have about 10 games for my PS4 and about 10 games for my Xbox One, and I have like 2 or 3 on each that are exclusive. Everything else are games that I could have bought on any system or on my PC. So the majority of the library and the competition for Nintendo is not a library. Okay, although the library is very good because I think there are great third-party games, multi-platform, that have come out this generation, some really great ones, they don't sell me on an Xbox One or on a PS4. Destiny doesn't sell me on the PS4. And Assassin's Creed, which I don't really care for, Assassin's Creed wouldn't sell me on an Xbox One just because maybe one system pushes it. Call of Duty isn't going to sell me on a PlayStation 4. Call of Duty would sell me on Call of Duty, just like Assassin's Creed might sell me on Assassin's Creed, or Destiny would just sell me on Destiny. They're selling me the games, but they're not selling me the systems. When Nintendo releases great games like Mario 3D World, like Xenoblade Chronicles X, like Yoshi's Woolly World, or Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, it's like, well, not only am I sold on Donkey Kong and Yoshi, I'm also now sold on the platform that they're exclusive to. Wow, I better buy that platform, which happens to be the Wii U. And then there are the third-party exclusive games. You know, the 3 that jump to mind for me, there's more than 3, but the 3 immediate ones for me are Bayonetta 2, obviously. That game is a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. Wonderful 101, which is so freaking good. For me, it's a 10 out of 10, even though it's really just kind of an average game. It's just so good to me. And I'm a huge fan of Zombie U, you guys. So that's another third-party game that, to me, I know, like, we got, like, the gimped versions released on the PS4 and Xbox One 3 years later, but those don't really count because for 3 years and from the launch of the machine, that game was exclusive. It was also designed for the Wii U and its gamepad, and the definitive version of that game is the Wii U version with the gamepad features, not a regular controller on the PS4 or whatever. So to me, those games, yes, I'm counting Zombie U as a cheating sort of exclusive, those are third-party games that also sold me on a Wii U, and I think would sell anyone on a Wii U. So we can't forget how much exclusivity counts. And I know that for a lot of the younger gamers, they might not understand that. Gamers who are 15, 16, maybe even 20 years old, who mostly only grew up with the 7th generation and a generation that was randomly very long. Typically, generations aren't as long as the PS3 and 360 lasted. It's a testament to how long they lasted, but that's not normal. Normally, you get the 5 or 6 or so years. So a lot of these younger guys and girls might not really understand what exclusivity means. And, you know, those of us old enough to grow up in the 8-bit era, and more than that, the 16-bit era with the, 16-bit war between the Genesis and Super Nintendo, and then Generation 5, I guess it would be the N64 and the PlayStation 1 and kind of the Saturn a little bit. Those generations were defined by each system's exclusive content and exclusive ability to do unique things that the other person, the other guy, competitor couldn't do. And that's why, though, to me, those are the best times in gaming. I mean, we may be getting great stuff nowadays on all systems, mostly on the Wii U, but on all systems. But honestly, like, it was so great back then because the identity really gave you something to feel why my N64 matters because of all these unique games. Or my PlayStation 1 matters because of all these unique games. There was very little crossover back in the day. Well, 16-bit there was, but during that N64 PlayStation 1 era, there was very little crossover. Those systems were so unique. And I think that is kind of a commentary on how it happens today with the Wii U compared to the other two consoles and PC, because they kind of have the same library as the PS4 and Xbox One as well. The Wii U, even with these games that are not maybe the Galaxy 3s and the Metroid Prime 4s that we've been wanting, this library is fantastic. And bringing this back around to why I started this video in the first place, all these games that I was saying probably, qualify as placeholder games, that does not mean they aren't excellent. That does not mean that almost every single exclusive game on the Wii U, whether it's Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and Captain Toad, or whether it's Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers, all of these games are excellent. They're worth your time. They're worth your money. I've said that many times. I said that in some comments I talked to when I was kind of further explaining what I was getting at with that video yesterday in the comments section. And I think it's important to remember, like, that doesn't have to be necessarily a negative thing. And I hope that people can take this as a positive message going forward. The Wii U, to me, even being the weakest on the market, and even with its unfortunate failure where gamers didn't buy in and Nintendo made some really bad marketing decisions and even some hardware decisions, to be fair, the Wii U, to me, carved out its niche as the best console to own right now. I mean, third-party content's great, but it doesn't sell you on a console like I was saying. It's all about the exclusive games. And all these games on the Wii U are so good, and I just really didn't want people to take the message away from yesterday's video that I was trying to say, these games aren't good. You know, I consider Yoshi's Woolly World and Tropical Freeze and Kirby and even Mario 3D World as not true sequels and successors of their franchises, so they're bad, don't play them. I don't want people to take that message away because it sure as hell isn't how I feel, and it's not what I was trying to say. And maybe I should have been a little bit more concise with my messaging, so maybe that part falls on me a little bit, but I don't feel that way. And for anyone who took that away from it, please understand that wasn't what I was trying to say. To be fair, a lot of people unfortunately agreed with the negative connotation they might have read from that. A lot of people were like, yeah, Nintendo owes us for this really crappy Wii U library they've given us, and they better deliver with the NX. Like, I'm not happy with what they gave us, so I need more. And that was unfortunate because I didn't mean to spark that feeling in people. That was not at all what I was trying to say. Watch that video again, you guys. I feel like I was speaking very positively about everything every time I brought up a game and, you know, all of that stuff. I feel like I was being positive. Some people ran with the negativity. Other people read negativity out of it and were a little bit worried that that's what I was trying to say. And in wrapping this up, that wasn't what I was getting at, and hopefully this video helps a little bit. I know I discussed even the broader sense of exclusivity, but I think that exclusivity is the defining identifier to Nintendo as a company for sure, and to the Wii U. I mean, the gamepad alone created this amazing little kind of loophole where certain games had to be made certain ways to run only on Nintendo's console. And I freaking love that. I hope that continues with the NX. I hope they find a better way to do it than what the gamepad turned into, because the gamepad, as much as I love it, did turn out to be a little bit alienating to too many gamers. And we all know Nintendo didn't do didn't create enough good examples of how to do it right. And they made a couple great ones, but maybe not enough, so it didn't even become a fully realized idea. So I want them to take the skeleton of that and be the Nintendo they always are, with a unique way to play with the NX, but I hope it's a little bit more encompassing and inviting for a lot of gamers and isn't creating this blockage of only the hardcore Nintendo fans are going to buy in and everyone else is going to be hands off. It needs to kind of be what the Wii was, because that's exactly what the Wii was. The Wii was inviting, and hardcore gamers got into it at first, and the casual gamers got into it because they're like, hey, I can do this. This is easy, you know? And so anyway, I'm kind of rambling, so I'm just going to stop here. Hopefully this video made sense. Hopefully it sparked a different way of thinking about Nintendo and the Wii U's library currently, and also what they plan on doing. I firmly believe that based on the library, mostly of spin-offs and non-traditional sequels that the Wii U did have, because I'm going to stand by that. Every game I talked about, I do feel isn't a true sequel. That I mentioned I didn't think were true sequels. I feel that way. And I feel that when you look at all these games that released on the Wii U as not true sequels, that means that they have this backlogged catalog of games, where they're going to say, okay, now the NX is out, here's the new Mario. Another 6 months, here's the new Metroid. Another 6 months, here's Pikmin 4. And then here's Smash Bros. 5. And then here's whatever. I mean, myriad different things. I think that they're going to do that. Here's an Animal Crossing you really wanted. I think it's going to happen, you guys, and we should take away a really positive thing from that. So hopefully this makes sense. You know, this was kind of a rambly video as well, but I really enjoyed the idea of further explaining what I was getting at, kind of elaborating on the idea of what that video was supposed to be, even though it turned into something else. So tell me what you guys think about this. If you saw yesterday's video, you can comment on that as well. But what do you think about the idea that the Wii U, I think, does have the best library? And I think that when you look at the weirder games that they released on the Wii U, does it mean that they really are going to unload amazing, true AAA sequels in all these franchises for the Wii U next? Splatoon 2 and new IPs included. Tell me what you think about this stuff, you guys. Thanks, of course, for tuning in to today's video. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.